Hello, it's Monday, and we are once again here for Bakery Culture Monday. Um, and today's cultures are sourdough cultures. This big pail here, this is where we keep the white sourdough culture. These little ones are tartine, right? Little samples here. That's the rye sourdough, brown sourdough. This is the white one. Um, these guys are totally our friends. And they're alive. And because they're alive, some days I come in here, I take the lid off the white sourdough, and I'm just like, whoa, man, a lot going on in there. And then other days, especially if it's really cold, I just take the lid off and I'm like, would you just get off the sofa and get your butt to work? We got bread to make, right? And you've probably seen this yourself. You come in here and one day the white sourdough is only like that high, and then the next day it's that high, and you're like, well, don't these guys know what they're doing? Why can't they? It's a loaf of bread, right? It's got 4 ingredients, and they can't make it look the same way, 2 days in a row. Well, actually, we do know what we're doing. It's just that, with some temperature and time, whatever, you can control how these things live to some degree, but not entirely. And thank you for understanding that. I appreciate it. So, what do I mean by this as a culture? And I mean that it starts with flour and water. That's it. You take some flour and water, mix them together. You've just started a sourdough. And you started a sourdough with, you don't really know what all else. Like, frankly, there are hundreds of species of bacteria in here, and hundreds of species of yeast and fungi, and and they are working together as a community. And I've basically forced some science on these things, right? It's called natural selection. And this one lives on white flour. This one lives on the tartine blended flours. This one lives on brown flour. But I have forced this community of organisms to live and work together on a diet of flour, right? And they do. And it doesn't go bad, right? And it doesn't go bad. Well, think of your own body, right? Like if something foreign gets in there, your immune system takes care of it, eliminates it, right? And it's the same thing in here, right? My yeast and bacteria, they've also got immune systems. They have ways of fighting off competitors. And in here, it's not even necessarily they all eat the flour, right? Some of them are eating each other's byproducts. It's like a whole economy going on here, right? And the fuel for the economy is the flour. But it's cooperative. And it's going on in an ongoing process called fermentation. And as long as I keep replenishing that with a new food stock, it's going to keep on working, and it's going to change over time. This isn't the same culture that it was 2 years ago. It's been living continuously, but some species have thrived and some others have been replaced as it goes on and temperature and food sources change. And it's cool, and it makes better food. Well, why is that? Okay, well, first of all, this is some bakers call it wild yeast, right? Because it was just whatever was around. That's what's growing in here now. Here we've got the commercial yeast, right? One species, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, right? And this stuff works. We know it works because our grocery stores are full of it. All I need, if I just add water and a pinch of sugar to this, it goes bang. I can make bread in like 90 minutes. All like flour, that sugar, a handful of fat. The warmer the water, the better, and like boom, right? Mix it, pan it, proof it in the oven. Seriously, you can have bread in 90 minutes. Why is this better? Takes a lot longer. The results aren't nearly as consistent. But the fermentation means that this is doing a lot of the work for you. I'm not feeding you directly. This is feeding you directly. Here, I'm feeding the yeast, and then the yeast is feeding you. It's breaking down a lot of those big complex proteins and starches. It's putting out other antioxidants and things that are good for you. And if you want to try it yourself, I'd be happy to have you try it. We will, if you come in and ask for like any of our white sourdough, brown sourdough, we'll give you a cup of this starter. You should try it, right? Because it's kind of neat. You like lots of fermented products. You do. You like cheese, fermentation. You like wine, that's a fermentation. I know you like beer, especially our local beers. Like, wow, those guys know what they're, and frankly, I'm amazed at the consistency they achieve, right? Week after week, month after month. Wow. I don't know how they control their organisms as well as they do, but lots of fermented things are fun, good for you. We're making plenty of them, here in Medicine Hat. And this is the way we're going to keep doing it. Yeah. See you next week.